It really depends on the campaign and what you're working with. There's all different levels, depending on the artist and how far they've come. An artist, for example, that started is just beginning, that doesn't have any kind of media attention. What we try to do is locate and help them create some kind of a story or a buzz, so to speak, to get their records out there to the people that are going to actually do something with it, and then build a nice solid foundation and then build upward and outward from that point. We reach out to regional publications if the band's going to be performing locally. If we're looking to build awareness on the artist, we're reaching out to the fanzines, to the blogs, things that are going to build their fan base, so to speak. And on a touring level, we're reaching out to regional publications wherever they're touring in advance of their show dates. We also reach out to television, depending on what the project is. An example of that is I'm currently working with an artist by the name of Kelly Moore, who has a benefit called Music for Mankind, where a portion of its proceeds go to the World Food Program to feed, in this case, the children outside of the Darfur area. Within a year's time, we've been able to get him on 40 TV stations. He's currently going to be on the Starfish Network starting March 21st and running daily. And it's just building from there. And it started as a concept, and here we are, we're nationwide now. So it basically is trying to get as much positive media attention as we can on the artist. That's basically what it is, and that includes television, syndicated radio, satellite radio, dailies, weeklies, monthlies, fanzines, and digital cable programming now, which is fairly new. The things that Publicist usually does not do is commercial radio, college radio, talking to program directors on the radio level. We usually don't deal with that level. That's a different ballgame altogether. We don't deal with bookings. We don't book shows, but we help booking agents when we promote their shows. We don't do management signings, things like that. That's basically it. But anything that has to do with print media, television, we do not do marketing. Paid advertising is, going to an advertising person and paying them to come out with a display ad or something like that. What we're trying to do is get an endorsement from the critics, which in essence is free advertising, so to speak, but really what it is it's an endorsement from a rock critic, so to speak, to tell people basically, hey, this band is cool, go see them. And our job is to persuade them to consider it. It's mainly the endorsement. When you're dealing with a display ad, anybody can take out the ad if you have the money. But when it comes down to persuasion and it comes down to actually convincing the writer that the band is newsworthy or that the band has some kind of a story that's going to basically attract their readership, that's more of an endorsement. And that's the goal of what we try to do, is get that for them and build on that on all levels, wherever the band or the artist or the label happens to be at that time. And then build on it, basically. Advertising is one arm of the big pie, basically, in my opinion. It's something that definitely should be done, but they all need to work together to make that artist come up. Again, it depends on the campaign itself and the artist and where they are in their career. If, for example, you're dealing with, let's say, a small artist that maybe has one release, it's got a new one coming, what we're trying to do is inform the writers that there's a new one coming, and at the same time listen to the older album that they have, get an opinion on it, get awareness built up, get some recognition going with their name, and then as the record's released, that becomes later on the story for that writer to let people know about it. In other cases, it could be a situation where the artist already has a record out but is actually creating news at that moment, being a benefit or some kind of a tour or anything on that level to help that artist promote themselves at that point. So it really depends on their campaign and where they are with their career. Typically a campaign runs based off of a magazine's lead time. So again, regarding the campaign, if an artist, for example, is trying to attract national exposure on a magazine level, you have to have a story that's created with the artist to go with it. And then in addition to that, you have to keep in consideration of who you're speaking with and what they know and if they're interested in what you're doing, first off. And then at that point, you want to make sure that they have everything that they need well in advance of the release of the magazine. Most publications on a national level are usually between 2 and 4 months lead time, meaning basically that when you release a story to them, you won't see it for 4 months or 3 months or 2 months. So you need to be giving them the record in advance of the actual release date. And that's basically what you're working with, is that lead time. So a typical campaign is usually between 3 and 6 months. On average, minimum is 3 for lead time. And on average, 6 months is a typical campaign. But some campaigns go a lot longer than that.